Hey everyone, welcome to the kickoff of the Chippewa Luce Mackinac's very first virtual conservation week. And we're going to be sharing lots of videos all week long about various conservation related topics to showcase what we do for the local community. The Conservation District has never done a Conservation Week, and this is our first one, so bear with us with some technical difficulties because we're learning all this fun stuff. But today I'm going to kick off with our very first topic, which is conservation related apps for your smartphone. And the first application that I'm going to start with is the Autobahn app. Now, the Autobahn app is a really cool feature for identifying birds in the community. It's really meant for those birder advocates out there and those folks who are amateur birders like myself. I utilize this app to ID birds that I see. I don't necessarily do very many sightings with this. I think I've only actually done one, but you can record the sightings that you've had and geo-reference them so other people can go to that location if it's available to go to and search for that bird as well. The cool thing is you can do the same, so other people who can geo-reference their birds can go to that location and search for those birds too. I find this app pretty user-friendly. The cool thing is if you're not really sure how to ID the bird, it goes through some very simple steps to help you, and it will give you options that are available for the options that you put in. So for instance, it will help you ID it by size, its behavior, its habitat, its wing shape, its color. There's a couple other features involved there too that you can search by, and I find this really helpful, especially for the amateur birder. You can get this app for free in the app stores, and like I said, I really find it user friendly and I recommend this one. The next app I wanted to talk about is iNaturalist. Well, iNaturalist is really a citizen science app for your smartphone. What you do is you can record your sightings of various plants, animals, birds, bugs, things like that into the application, and you can share those sightings with the science community. And people can interact with you on there about what you've seen and what they've saw and things like that. The cool thing about this app is that information is actually used by scientists to kind of plan and prioritize research or conservation efforts. That's why I really promote this one. Unfortunately, I don't really find this one super user friendly, especially for an amateur, because it just doesn't have a lot of features that allow you to ID things appropriately. You kind of have to have a good knowledge base already. The other thing is you could ID something incorrectly, share that community, and it could be utilized when it's not correct. But the other cool part of the iNaturalist app is it actually has a sister app called Seek by iNaturalist. And I find this app really cool. It's pretty user friendly because it is more for a younger age group. And what it does is it allows you to ID and discover new plants, animals, bugs, things like that as well. And it allows you to earn badges for what you've seen. And that also gets shared to the science community. This would be like a cool application for an older student who's interested in conservation or biology and things like that. And it kind of gives you a little reward by earning the badges, which I think is a neat feature. Now, the next app I wanted to talk about is for our agriculture community, and it's called Crop Manager. This application is really cool because it allows you to keep all of your farm record type things in one location. Now, there are applications out there that sync with a larger software that would go on your computer, and if that's something you're interested in, I would recommend you looking at different various ones. But generally, those do cost quite a bit of money to get on your end. This one is free. It may have some in-application purchases, but I didn't see any when I was using it. But this app allows you to keep like all of your planting records including the date, your fertilization, your harvest schedule. It allows you to keep track of income and expenses. And the other cool features it has is, coming from a farm background, I really understand what it is to keep tasks in mind on the go. This allows you to record tasks and set due dates for them. And you can share those tasks with others who have access to it too. So if you have farm employees, or you are not in communication with somebody who needs to complete the work, you can share that with them very easily. This also allows you to keep track of your nutrients applied, the dates, the weather conditions, everything like that. This app could be really useful for somebody who doesn't have an electronic tracking system for their records right now, because it's really user friendly. And it allows you to become more up to date and see what you're doing on a more regular basis. It also allows you to keep all that information from year to year, so you can keep a better track of that. The other feature it has is it can keep track of marketing trends in the area and in the state or national level. This may not be as useful for some folks, but it may be of interest to people. The other agriculture app that I wanted to talk about is called PlantNet. And this application will help you identify various plants, including those really pesky weeds that you may not know what you have in the garden. You can take a picture of this, either using its leaf, its flower, its fruit, and it will help you ID it. Now, something to note about this is it is a free application. I have been using this. I didn't see any in-app purchases with this one, but I did find some inconsistencies with the information it gives you. Now, with that said, I took a picture of a chokecherry tree. It identified it as a chokecherry tree, but it also identified it as some other trees too, including glossy buckthorn. A glossy buckthorn in Michigan is an invasive species, and there are significant differences between a chokecherry tree and glossy buckthorn. So that's what I want you to keep in mind, is that you may get a good reference material to go search for the correct tree elsewhere, is what I'm trying to say. But as far as weeds, it can help you identify weeds, and it allows you to pick various databases to search in. So you'll want to pay attention to that, so you're not in like a Europe database or an Asia database or something like that. This app I find really user friendly, like I said, but you do want to verify that it's correct with another trusted source when you're complete. The next app I wanted to talk about is for our forestry land managers. And this app is called Leaf Snap. Now, Leaf Snap is a pretty user-friendly application. It allows you to take pictures of trees, their leaves, and ID them. Now, this application is produced by a couple of universities in the east of the United States, so it does have a large database of eastern species, which is what we would need. It really has a good, easy-to-use interface. The only negative is I don't find it very appealing to the eye, but it is developed very well. It IDs plants quite well. If you're not really sure what it is, or if it was unable to identify it, they allow you to send in the species to try to get identified. It is a free application, which is nice, and you can get that on either of the app stores available. The next application I wanted to talk about was the MISSIN app, and MISSIN stands for Midwest Invasive Species Information Network. And this application was actually developed by Michigan State University, and it's really meant for land managers to report invasive species sightings. And the really cool thing about this application is, if you are a landowner or land manager of some kind and you identify some invasive species, it allows you to take a picture, georeference it, and send it to the MISSIN group. Then MISN takes that information and sends it to the local SISMA that covers your area, which is really cool because otherwise we would never know about that infestation unless we saw it or if a landowner called us and reported it. This takes that out of the equation. It gives an opportunity to better identify species on a quicker basis, and if it is a significant or species that needs to be treated right away, that can be done. Additionally, if it's a species that's never been identified in the area, it's only increasing the rapid response to eradicating that before it travels other places. So this application is really cool and I highly recommend it. The last app that I wanted to talk about is called Google My Maps. Now this application can be used by just about anybody. And this application is different than the other applications Google has. So it's different than Google Earth and different than Google Maps. This is Google My Maps. And this application actually allows you to create a map and put lines on it or points on it. And then it automatically saves it right to your Google Drive for your Google account. Google Earth and Google Maps don't allow you to do that on your smartphone. We actually utilize this at the Conservation District to keep track of our soil erosion and sedimentation control application or permits that we have. So it allows us to see them right on a map, right to an address or georeference, and it allows us to use that to navigate and plan out our site visits better, and it allows us to provide a more accurate description of where the landowner is. I really find this application useful. I think it could be utilized for land managers who don't have a current idea of their land, because it will allow you to do a path, it will allow you to set a geo-reference point, and it saves it right to the cloud. The other cool feature about this is it actually will let you navigate to a point. You can do that in Google Maps, but it's a little iffy because it's going by roads and etc. The other thing is you can utilize these maps offline. So if you create the map when you're connected to data or Wi-Fi, you can save that and use it offline, which is also cool. Well, that's what I had for you in terms of conservation apps and what we're using and what I recommend for people to use in the area. I just wanted to provide some neat apps that people might find useful. Now, the rest of Conservation Week, we're going to be sharing videos from all about different conservation topics. I encourage you to keep logging in every day to the various social media platforms we have or our website. We also try to share these via email, and I'd like you guys to provide us feedback on how we're doing with this and what you might want to see in the future, because we're interested in continuing this on. Hopefully, we can continue this in a live setting in 2021. Thanks for listening today, and I hope you enjoyed.